Yes, the final slot of the morning program, hashtag news and views with myself as Harvadi. And now in the Opinionista section of the Daily Maverick, once again, Paul Hoffman of Accountability now writes, Cyril Ramaphosa gives us hope and despair in equal measure. Could President Cyril Ramaphosa's letter to South Africa on the 3rd of August be the moment that signals him turning away from the stumbling trajectory of the hopeless national democratic revolution and into the light of constitutional democracy under the rule of law? It is so to be hoped, and we welcome Paul to the program. Good morning, Paul. Nice to be chatting to you again.
Good morning to you and to your viewers.
This article that you wrote just a couple of days ago, what's your analysis on the view of the president now?
Well, it seems that my article, which referred to hope and to despair, is definitely veering in the direction of hope. You know, the problems around corruption have been with us since the beginning of the Zuma era and even before the Zuma era. And at last, the pandemic seems to be galvanizing the leadership of the ANC into doing something about it. So the letter that was published on Monday and commented on by me in the course of the week has been overtaken by events at the meeting of the National Executive Council, the National Executive Committee of over the weekend, and on Tuesday put out a media statement in which the NEC has said that it has instructed Cabinet to urgently do what the Constitutional Court has required of Cabinet since 2014, and that is to create a single independent entity that deals with grand corruption in all its manifestations. The ANC call it white-collar crime, organized crime. The first manifestation in the ANC that firstly, the commitment is to a single anti-corruption entity, which is what the court requires. And secondly, that there is a commitment to making the anti-corruption machinery independent of executive control, influence, and interference. If that is to happen, what we will have is a rebirth of the Scorpions, but better. The Scorpions on steroids, you could say, because the weakness of the Scorpions was that they were a mere creature of statute. They were not able to withstand the Zuma attack on them. A simple majority in Parliament saw their demise. If we create this new independent entity that the NEC is asking for, it must be done in such a way that it cannot simply be closed down when it becomes unpopular with the simple majority of politicians. And that can be done by housing it in the Chapter 9 section of the Constitution, where the institutions cannot be closed down by a simple majority. It requires a special majority to do so.
Mm-hmm. But do you think that any of this is going to actually be possible? We've seen the Zondo Commission, we've seen investigation after investigation, and really up until now, we've seen nothing of tangible, response in terms of prosecution or people paying for the corruption that has taken place. It all seems to have just been swept away. Do you think the new moves will result in people being held to account?
Yes, the difficulty has been that the NPA was hollowed out during the Zuma years. We all read Jacques Pau earlier in the week in the Daily Maverick as well, in which he discloses that the leadership of the NPA has kept on people who were lying, cheating, and perjuring themselves in relation to the Cato Ridge death squad. All false allegations designed to nobble people who were acting against Zuma's friends. Now we have a situation where the NEC seems to have recognized that and wishes to see the establishment of a suitably structured and operational entity which can do all the things which have not been done by the NPA as prosecutors and by the Hawks as investigators of corruption. Creating the specialized unit and empowering it, resourcing it to operate independently is our best hope of seeing the people identified in the Zondo Commission, the people who fall out of the cracks in the woodwork in the COVID tenderpreneurship, or they call them COVIDpreneurs. Those corrupt individuals are best dealt with by a single unit, which is what the NEC has been calling for since the weekend. What we had in the past was an ANC commitment to a I think the president last week was up to 9 different units that he's included in this hub. That doesn't work, and the ANC seems to have recognized that. It doesn't work when you have 9 separate units working on one problem. The buck is passed, the responsibilities are blurred, each one points a finger at the other, and you don't actually get a coherent and cohesive attack on the corrupt. If you put all of the expertise in one place, you will stand a much better chance of countering corruption than has been the case in the last 10 years.
Paul Hoffman of Accountability Now. We're going to have to leave it there, unfortunately. Reached the hour of 10 o'clock this morning. Thank you so much once again for your time, and we continue speaking to you in the future.
Thanks for the opportunity. Cheerio.
Yes, that brings us to exactly 10 o'clock, and time for the news bulletin from the studios of Al Ansar. From me, Azhar Vadi, fi amanillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.